From one of the wildest high-speed pursuits in the big country to this million-dollar home that's been the talk of Abilene to back-to-back state championships, 2023 gave us plenty of moments to remember. The 2023 Year in Review show starts right now.
Welcome to this special presentation of the 2023 Year in Review.
Hello and welcome to the Big Country Homepage Studio. I'm Manny the Ass. Let's begin with our look back at 2023 with our top economic stories. A longtime Abilene business announced in October that it would be closing its doors after 37 years. Casa Authentique owner Wanell Reeder opened in June of 1986 as she began selling shoes. Reeder said she didn't expect her business to grow as large as it did. Although the decision to retire was bittersweet, Reeder wants to spend more time with her family. Number 2, head of the Development Corporation of Abilene, Misty Mayo, and her team were recognized at the City Council meeting in late October as the International Development Corporation of the Year for 2023. Mayo also announced Project Morello with Petrosmith, a prominent equipment supplier in the oil and gas industry. The company anticipates the construction of a new 25,000 square foot facility with a projected capital investment of $25 million that will preserve 415 existing jobs and create 250 new jobs over the next 7 years. Well, the lunch rush always draws in hungry crowds in Abilene. If you plan on getting ChickfilA at the Southside location, customers usually wait longer to get their food as drive-through lanes tend to extend past the parking lot, creating chaos on Southwest Drive and potential road hazards. But now, all that can change. The city approving the move of the ChickfilA restaurant to another location. Ashley Ibarra has the story.
As the lunch hour approaches, many hungry drivers hit the road, waiting in line at drive-thrus for food. But some will be waiting at the intersection.
Yeah, sometimes right there, when you're trying to turn in and it backs up, it's pretty scary right there.
The Southwest Drive intersection being one of the busiest in Abilene as customers pull in to order ChickfilA.
It takes about 10 to 15 minutes around there to just try to get in.
Customers finding ways to avoid the traffic.
That's pretty bad. We actually had to use somebody else's parking spot or parking space to park over here so we could eat.
Or decide to eat somewhere else.
Go all the way out there. It's really long. Sometimes we have to go somewhere else because the line is too long.
Abilene City Manager Robert Hanna called the traffic a concern for all parties involved.
Important part of our community, important part of our business environment, but also and increasingly a traffic concern for a number of folks in Abilene, I think even ChickfilA.
The city now working to relocate the South Abilene ChickfilA.
What we have been able to do by working with ChickfilA Real Estate is to identify a city-owned parcel that ChickfilA would relocate to.
Leasing out a 2.5 acre property for the new location.
It would be a lease agreement with ChickfilA, initial term of 15 years and 5 renewal terms of 5 years apiece, so a 40-year total term.
The new location will be across the street from the Southside Walmart. Since it's city-owned property, all funds will go back to Parks and Rec.
You add it all up, it's almost $7 million for the park system. So this is I think a creative way to provide funding for Abilene's park system that is not tax revenue generated. It's actually generated through an alternative revenue source, which in this case would be a commercial lease.
Customers hoping the new location can accommodate for its popularity.
I hope it has maybe more like space to do the drive-through, because here it's like a thin 2 lanes. So there, if they had like bigger, so there's more and more people like to go around, so it'd be faster.
Others say regardless of how long the wait is, they're staying loyal to their favorite fast food restaurant.
It might be a few minutes, but like I said, it's always worth the wait.
Now to our number 1 trending education story. Back in February, the Rising Star School Board held a special called meeting with a large turnout from the community. Rising Star Superintendent Robbie Studeville tendered his resignation the week after he admitted he left a gun in the bathroom. When a student saw it and returned to class, they informed the teacher, then the teacher sending another 3rd grader to verify a gun was there. The father of the student who was sent to check on the gun shared his thoughts.
Why send another child to go? And so that's whenever that teacher had said, hey, Layton, can you go ahead and go, see what it is? And so they both went, and Layton said, yep, that's a revolver. That's Mr. Studerbill's, gun.
Coming up after the break, we're taking a look at the top weather story of the year, along with how the big country rallied to help a first responder after his home was destroyed by the May tornado in Jones County.
You're watching the 2023 Year in Review.
It was back in May when a tornado ripped through Jones County, leaving a husband and wife picking up the pieces of what was their family home. The aftermath of the tornado left them with next to nothing, but thanks to the community and Oak Creek homes, this story had a much different ending than that night in May that changed their lives forever. Annabelle Tuggle has the story.
Going through the rubble, trying to find items that are salvageable, and throwing away those that aren't.
That's been hard, seeing all your personal belongings destroyed.
This has been the life of Amanda and Brandon Gall for the past month after their home was torn apart by a tornado.
Oh, I was devastated. I worked so hard to build this up from the ground up, and I didn't know what we were going to do.
But even though the Galls have literally been picking up the pieces of their old home, they finally found hope in a hopeless situation. Because in just a few short weeks, they will finally have a brand new home on their property.
The outpouring of support that we've had throughout Abilene, Anson area, it's just been awesome.
Because more than 150 people donated to the GoFundMe for the Galls and a sold-out luncheon fundraiser, a new home will arrive less than 2 months after the old one was torn apart. But Brandon adds that this still could not have been possible without Bill Wilkins, general manager of Oak Creek, who worked with the factory to give them a major discount.
Everybody pitched in and said, hey, we got to try and help this family.
Also allowing the Galls to choose the furniture they wanted for free. Wilkins says he does this for families who have been hit with devastation.
They've lost everything, so it's not a time to try and swoop in and make a killing. It's a time to step in and really try and help the community. So we were able to help in Carbon. We were able to help about a half a dozen families with homes.
The Galls will soon have a place to make new memories.
We're come through it, and I think it's all going to work out.
Even though many items were lost, they will gain memories of community support that will last a lifetime.
Coming up, the BCH sports team takes over with the top plays of the 2023 Texas high school football season. Stick around.
You're watching the 2023 Year in Review.
We were told to pick 5 plays out of this football season, but I gotta tell you, there were way too many to choose from. So I think what I put together is much better. Let's have a look.
Gets it away, and that ball is muffed. And the Eagles are going to recover in the end zone for a touchdown. What a season our big country teams had this year. Next year may just be even better. Manny, back to you.
Coming up, Carly Cross gives us what was trending in 2023 on the web in Abilene and the big country.
You're watching the 2023 Year in Review.
Welcome back to the 2023 Year in Review. Next to giving you the news on TV, it's all about what we do on the web on BigCountryHomepage.com. Each week, Carly Cross breaks down the top web stories. With that said, a Year in Review show wouldn't be a show without, well, those top stories from Miss Carly Cross.
Thank you, Manny, for this special edition of Big Country Beat. We're going to be looking at the stories that have defined our community this year. Here's 2023's Big Country Beat. Starting with top overall, the #1 most read article on BigCountryHomepage.com in 2023, that's going to be the report of a rising star third grader finding a gun in a school bathroom left there by the superintendent, and understandably parents were upset.
You can't say that was a mistake to leave my gun there. You can't mistake a lot.
Barreling through our top stories in each category for crime, the arrest of an ACU professor in March. Charles Wadlington is accused of sexually abusing his adoptive children. He bonded out shortly after. Moving on over to education, it's the investigation into an Abilene ISD teacher accused of addressing a middle schooler with a racial slur in February. Looking at our local economy, last month's news of the South Abilene ChickfilA possibly moving just up the road because of daily traffic hazards. That really took a hold of everyone's attention.
Increasingly a traffic concern for a number of folks in Abilene, I think even ChickfilA.
Now in weather, the severe storm warning from meteorologist Darius Stringer of a cold front entering fall conditions in the Ides of September was actually #2 most read story of the year. Moving over to our local entertainment news, just this month we learned about a Wiley ISD 9-year-old competing in the Food Network's Kids Baking Championship. Elsie is the youngest contestant in season 12, and her season airs January 1st. And let's wrap this up with some good. Our top positive news article of 2023 belongs to an ACU freshman and Wiley High grad who is a bona fide thrill seeker. From hiking tall mountains to swimming with sharks and even skydiving, London Groves proves it's all about sheer will as she studies to become a pilot.
I like the adrenaline rush and yeah, it feels like I'm actually living life to the fullest.
Okay, my friends, that is it for our Big Country Beat 2023 year interview, which I'm so proud to say also launched this year. Between the lines of articles detailing heartaches and everyday miracles, it's been a pleasure to be part of the BCH team to bring up-to-the-minute updates straight to you. I'm Carly Cross. Happy New Year. Manny?
Ring this bell 3 times. Well, it's told to clearly say my treatment's done, this course is run, and I'm on my way.
Plenty of reason to celebrate in 2023. Our very own Victor Sotelo battled and beat colon cancer in March. He rang the victory bell, completing his rounds of radiation and chemotherapy. His perseverance and determination, along with the support from his family and friends, was crucial. Congratulations to you and your family, Victor. We love you, brother. When we return, the top crime stories of 2023, plus a hot pursuit and rodeo ride that will be remembered for years to come.
You're watching the 2023 Year in Review.
Welcome back. We turn our attention to the top crime stories of the year, beginning with #3. For more than 4 years, we've been following the 2018 mattress murder, a case of an alleyway shootout involving an Abilene father and son who were accused of shooting and killing a neighbor, Aaron Howard, over a discarded box spring. Johnny D. Miller would be found guilty in the murder charge of Howard, while his son Michael Miller, who was also tried but not found guilty. Meanwhile, the 72-year-old Johnny D. Miller was sentenced to 14 years in prison. #2, Sean Atkins released from jail for the first time in 2 years. Atkins was released in late June after being charged with the murder of 13-year-old Haley Dunn. She was reported missing from her Colorado City home 13 years ago. The district attorney filing a motion to dismiss prosecution without prejudice. That led to Atkins being released from the Mitchell County Jail in Colorado City. Family members saying that the murder and tampering with evidence charges against Atkins have been dropped. Now to the top crime story of the year. It was on the morning of May 3rd when multiple injuries and 1 death resulted from a high-speed chase just north of Abilene and Jones County. The driver taken into custody that day, but his passenger was pronounced dead at the hospital. Noah McKinney with the eyewitness report and breakdown of the fiery collision. Viewer discretion is advised.
What began as a simple traffic stop spiraled into a high-speed chase and a loss of life.
I mean, I feel like it's just reckless. It's reckless.
Brandon Alexander was on his way to class when he and his friends heard the commotion coming down Highway 277 just north of Abilene.
All we hear is this car flying by, pushing the gas, and I hear police sirens behind them.
27-year-old Jacoby Jabbar Johnson and his passenger, 22-year-old Aaron Earl Rattler, fleeing a traffic stop in Ty.
He took a speeding violation and turned it into multiple felonies and other things that might be coming.
Texas DPS Sergeant Mark Couch says Johnson gave chase and initially stopped at a gas station, but fled again at a high rate of speed upon seeing troopers approach.
The officers were very surprised there wasn't more traffic out, which is why they continued the pursuit as long as they did.
After passing through Abilene, Johnson led officers down 277 south, then making a risky change in direction.
Oh, he's coming back. Pull my phone back out. He pulls out with the spikes.
A spike strip was deployed across the northbound lane of 277 just before the chase came to a halt.
These things never end well, so we figured something bad was going to happen.
And it was right about here, just before where I'm standing, the spike strip was thrown out. The driver veered off the road to try and miss it. If you follow me over this way, you'll see the intersection where they ultimately went into oncoming traffic and hit a few of those northbound cars.
He had no regards for these people's lives.
Both occupants of the truck were transported to Hendricks to be treated for their injuries, though Johnson's passenger would not survive.
He took this man's life, you know what I'm saying?
Johnson was taken into custody and treated for his injuries, all caused by a chaotic chase that didn't need to happen.
At the end of the day, if he had just pulled over, he was going to get a speeding ticket.
For BigCountryHomepage.com, I'm Noah McKinney.
Now to our top viral stories. The $1 million house in South Abilene that was once condemned and listed to be demolished has been purchased. The new owner saving the unfinished house from being demolished. This all began more than 3 years ago as a beautiful new house being built. Midway through construction, everything came to a halt. The neighborhood has been dealing with the half-finished home ever since. Number 2, it was in late July when Eastland County Sheriff Deputy David Bosecker lost his life in the line of duty. Deputy Bosecker was fired upon after arriving first on the scene of a domestic disturbance in Romney, Texas between Cisco and Rising Star. Hundreds of people would pay their respects to the friends and family of Deputy Bosecker at a special service at the Brownwood Coliseum. Now to the top viral story of the year. If you've ever seen a rodeo saddle bronc ride, it's not unusual to hold your breath when a cowboy hits the dirt. For 26-year-old Ski Burks, his last ride came on a September night here in Abilene when he died due to injuries sustained when he was bucked off a horse. Less than a week later, the West Texas Fair and Rodeo would resume, but with a heavy heart in the wake of the final ride. Noah McKinney with the story.
Are you ready?
The final week of events at the West Texas Fair and Rodeo kicked off to applause. Rodeo announcer Bob Tallman providing play-by-play and color commentary as each rider took the arena. And as fun as the night was, one name hung in the minds of every staff member and spectator.
Just the sweetest, young, polite young man.
Tallman recalling the events of Saturday night when 26-year-old bronc rider Ski Burks lost his life in a ride gone wrong.
His back cinch broke, and that big mare just jumped and hit the ground, and the saddle went over the front, and down he went.
While the rodeo is a dangerous game, nothing could have prepared those watching for the heartache that transpired.
They were in a trance.
Tallman says staff and emergency services jumped into action, and he turned to the audience, asking them to do the only thing they could.
If you're going to put your hands together, have a reason to do it.
Tallman says most every mind was filled with prayer for that young man and his family.
It'd be very difficult if you're one of 5,000 people to stand up in a red shirt and walk. And the longer it took, the longer the prayers got.
Burks passed away that night, but he was not alone. Every heart and every eye in the arena focused solely on him.
I do believe that a young man like that would have been gracefully saved at the moment and sent on to meet his Lord and Savior.
A friend capturing this image the next day. A lone rider in the clouds captioned, "Ski Burks riding in the sky one last time. A bit of solace at a difficult time for a family and a community in mourning."
If prayer is your thing, give it to him.
For BigCountryHomepage.com, I'm Noah McKinney.
I must say 2023 has been real and certainly one we'll be remembering for years to come. But most of all, with all that said, we appreciate you, the viewer, for welcoming us into your home and on your screens each day. And most importantly, we thank you for your trust. From all of us here at KTAB, KRBC, and BigCountryHomepage.com, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'm Manny Diaz. God bless.